Jeremy Fouts, and today we have a special guest, Billy Jones. And Billy, I'm excited to have you on. I could tell you, student athletes and student athlete parents, in my opinion, I've had a lot of pro baseball players on my podcast. I've had a lot of experts in the industry, but I think this is going to be, Billy, the number one podcast that I've ever delivered. And I'm going to read your resume here in a second, but the reason why is not your impressiveness from your biography and what you have accomplished in coaching at, for 20 years and Oregon State, Arizona State, North Carolina State, Oklahoma State, App State, Tulane, being a manager at the Cape Cod League, coaching with Team USA. I've been looking at, and we've been friends for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I knew some of the great things that you've done, but when I really broke into what you really accomplished, you've had over 100 players that you've mentored, and that's been selected to the MLB draft. 9 in the first round, and I think you're going to have for sure one more this year that I know of off the top of my head, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And but 53 in the top 10 rounds, 32 made it to the big leagues. But the one thing I'm more impressed with all of that is you've raised 2 boys, and that's made it to the big leagues, or one of them's made it to both of them's made it to the big leagues. One of them made it to the show.
Yeah.
And that's something I think these parents are going to bring away more than anything. And we're going to get into talking about Ryder and Utah and their success. So I'm not going to steal the thunder. I'm going to let Dad kind of share that here in a second. But that's the part that's most impressive to me about what you've accomplished is not only have you mentored a lot of athletes and done great things at a high level, but you've raised 2 young men that fulfilled their dreams. And that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. So congratulations. And Billy, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on. We're going to just kind of let you give a little recap of your story and what you've done. I know I shared a little bit about your accomplishments, but kind of a little bit over your last 20 years and what you've done. And go ahead and mention those 2 boys that I know you're so proud of.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, number one, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure and honor to kind of share your story and some of the things that you went through to try to follow your dream, if you will. If I go all the way back to my first coaching job ever, my mom called me and asked if I would coach a select baseball team or whatever it was. And so I showed up, she gave me the address, and it was at a 7-Eleven, and it was rec ball signups. So
we've both been there before.
Yeah. So that was the first thing I ever did. And, was done playing, done with college and was like, okay, I'll do this baseball thing. And so I did it and ended up, going to another thing. And then somebody recruited me to go coach at a junior college. So I did that. And at the junior college, I was happy. I hadn't finished school yet, but I was coaching junior college and we were really good. And I got introduced to Pat Casey at Oregon State, and him and Dan Spencer talked me into coming to Oregon State, with 2 little boys in diapers and no degree, and really gave me my chance. I had to go back to school, raise 2 little boys, and it just kind of escalated from there to where we were at Oregon State, and then bam, I get the job at Arizona State and work for Pat Murphy, who's, manager of the Brewers, and then got really lucky going to the Cape and going to NC State, and NC State was a blessing. And then that turned into Oklahoma State for 9 years and so on and so forth. But during that time, I just loved to coach.
Right.
And as you're doing it, back then we didn't make a ton of money.
No.
Started to make decent money at Oklahoma State, but nothing like it is today. I had 2 boys, obviously. And nobody believes me when I tell you this or tell people that, Ryder was the one that played in the big leagues. And when we went to NC State, I wanted to get them in this little league called West Raleigh Little League. It was big little league, right? So it asked for the parents' occupation. and I was like, I cannot put baseball coach, right? So I put like NC State facilities that I worked at. And Utah made the team,
Yeah.
the younger one,
Right.
and they decided to let Ryder be on the team.
Right.
And that's a true story,
That's
you know?
crazy.
So, as you go through this, and I know parents can probably understand this, that you just, at least for me at the time, I just wanted my boys good enough that they could play and they could play on their own.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't have the time to coach them, obviously, going to the games and stuff like that. So, um, and then it turned out to where, man, I'm doing this coaching thing. I'm going to keep this career, and now I just want to be good enough to play in high school.
Right.
And that's how small it started.
Right.
To where it wasn't what I think that we're exposed to nowadays, to
Yeah.
where the internet and social media and all the stuff is, well, we got to do this, we got to commit, we got to go here, we got to go there,
Yeah.
and we really didn't think about that. We just
Right.
tried to get really good at the game,
Yeah.
so
And just so the audience knows, Utah got picked for the team and Ryder didn't. But
correct,
Ryder's the one that made it to the big leagues, and
correct,
of course, Utah played in the
yes,
minor leagues, but didn't make it,
right,
and that's something that I wanna make sure my audience gets, because I tell parents all the time, it's not who's the best at 13, 14, 15.
that's right.
It's how good can we be at 17 and 18, and then how can we keep advancing?
Both me and my boys talk about this all the time. Like, if they had came out um, nowadays,
Yeah.
because they were late mature kids, they were
Mhm.
tall, skinny, not really strong, but they were really skilled baseball players.
Right.
That's one thing we could control, right? Um, they were like, how would we even been seen?
Right. Yeah.
Like Ryder grew, I think, 6.5 inches in one summer going into his sophomore, junior year of high school.
It's
You
crazy.
know? And then Utah won't tell anybody this or won't brag about it. He was a big time basketball player. Like,
Right.
he was a first team All State in the state of North Carolina. Like, we thought he was just going to go play hoops,
Right.
and he ended up, going the baseball route too, obviously. But it's kind of crazy the way it all shook
Yeah.
out, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, and the reason I wanted you to point that out is parents get so emotionally attached to, their son being the best all the way from 7, to their senior year, and it don't happen that way. You go through different phases, where you might
Oh,
not get picked to be on a team, you might not be the best on the team, but it's about, just like you said, just pushing and saying every day, "I'm gonna get better."
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. And that's all that we tried to do. And we spent a lot of time, and people laugh when I tell them, like, we spent a lot of time learning how to play catch.
yeah, yeah,
Just being able to play catch
right,
and how you throw a baseball. And, I think back to some of the little things that I would critique them on is how they ran on and off the field,
yeah,
how they backed up bases, were they in the right spot that they were supposed to be, which has nothing with going 4 for 4, 0 for 4,
right, no,
but how
no,
they carried themselves on the baseball field.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and they were lucky to learn it firsthand just by being in a college dugout and seeing the do's and don'ts and how you go about things and how you want to be. I
yeah,
can give you a short story. When I was at Oklahoma State, we had a tall shortstop, and his name was Jordy Mercer. And, really couldn't hit as a freshman, sophomore, but really good player, really worked hard. Well, Ryder wanted to be Jordy.
right,
That's who he was going to be. And Jordy was 6'4", 200 pounds. Anyways, Jordy ends up getting drafted. But at the time at Oklahoma State, Ryder would actually go out there and stand next to Jordy and just copy everything he did. Like, I just want to be you. So we fast forward. Jordy played shortstop in the big leagues 10 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
right,
So we fast forward to Ryder getting called up at age 22, going over in the first series against the Rockies. They go to Pittsburgh. Okay. Jordy Mercer's the shortstop.
yep,
So second at bat, Ryder hits a screaming line drive past a diving Jordy Mercer for
that's
his
awesome,
first MLB hit.
that's
So
awesome,
the ball comes back in, and they have the camera on Ryder. They got the camera on Jordy. Jordy takes the ball, puts it in his pocket, and starts laughing. And then the announcers was trying to give the backstory. Hey, the best thing about the whole night was Jordy's mom calls me immediately.
That's
and
awesome.
goes, "Are you well, of course I'm watching."
Right.
She's crying, I'm crying
Yeah.
because it was his idol.
Yeah.
So, I
That's awesome.
mean, baseball's a crazy game as far as, like, how it just brings everything full circle, you know?
Absolutely. And talking about that, most of my audience is, I would say, in a range of the parents have 12-year-olds to 17-year-olds. So let's just split it in the middle. If you're talking to a mom and dad or maybe an athlete listening around 14-year-old, what matters most right now, as far as is it games, is it development, what's the kind of balance that, if you went back to today's time and Ryder in Utah was around 14-year-old, what's some of the things you'd focus on, mostly with those boys?
I think about this often because I think tournaments, there's so many of them,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Um, and we always go to tournaments on the weekends and, they start Thursday or they start Friday and, all the stuff, but they don't practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Oh
they
yeah.
go and they do this. Now, one thing about tournaments is, and I tell, not only the clients we represent or the kids that we'll work with or help, that you have to be ready when it's time.
Absolutely.
And that means, are you prepared to go to that tournament?
Yeah.
More importantly, do mom and dad understand that this is a game of failure?
Right.
And I don't care what age you're at.
No.
And it's so hard to be good at it,
Yeah.
um, and be exceptional at it and still have the positive attitude to keep coming back and getting more. It's a crazy game. But I really think sometimes less is more on the
Yeah.
tournament side.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't
Yeah.
want to get people uproared, but
Yeah.
they need to spend time on practicing their craft and
Yeah.
getting really good at their craft. So when that
Yeah.
time comes to be seen, depending on the age, you'll be ready. If
Yeah.
you're a younger guy, then I start talking about, are we enjoying what we're doing? Do we love to go to the tournament? Do we love to play? Or am I just taking a swing and looking at mom and dad like, are they happy, sad, mad?
Yeah.
Right? I've seen it. I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've lived it. I understand it. Um, so you got to put it in perspective, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a dad that called me up, earlier this morning, and his son is 14 in Georgia, very gifted little ball player, but just little.
Yeah,
And you know what I do? I put weight on boys, and
that's right.
he
Yeah.
since December, he's went from 112 to 127.
Wow.
And his dad wanted to take him to Disney World with the family. The mom is CEO of a company and have very little time to get off. And he said, "Well, Charlie don't want to go because he don't want to get off his meal plan. He don't want to quit his workouts. He don't want to miss a scrimmage." And I said, "Well, you tell Charlie to give me a call. And I'm going to tell Charlie he needs that week off. And missing a scrimmage is not going to kill him at
Yeah.
14-year-old."
Right.
And I love what you just said. I mean, so many times we're focused on the tournaments. And I recommend a lot of these parents, sometimes it's okay to miss a tournament and to get up in the morning, eat with mom and dad, a good breakfast, teach them about nutrition, go to the gym, go get 50 ground balls, go hit in the cage. I'm like you. I think tournaments have a place. They
Sure. Sure.
100%. You've got to
Sure.
teach a kid competition. You got to, but nowadays it's not because we don't have enough tournaments to play in. There's always going to be
Oh, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I think you agree with me. A 14-year-old boy still needs to be 14-year-old boy. And what you just said about playing catch. I mean, when you and I was little, I mean, just we play catch 24/7, and now being an agent, someone that is paid to find good talent and represent good talent, you can tell the ball players that even know how to play catch at 17.
Yeah, there's so much more, you just when you're around it enough, you know what works, what doesn't.
Right.
You see traits, attributes, things that people do. Do they do them well? Do they not do them well? Are they really involved? Are they doing this because they want to do it? Do they love ball? Or are they
Yeah.
just doing it because this is what everybody's doing? So I better hurry up so I don't miss anything.
Right.
And I think that's where we all kind of get a little bit confused because if we're talking about baseball, the hardest sport in the world to play, like it is really hard. Like Michael Jordan in our day and age was the man, right? So he struggled to do this thing,
Right.
you know? And if we think it's so easy, I got a great story. We're preparing for the Big 12 championship, and I'm all over Jordy Mercer because he's missing ground balls in practice. And Jordy yells at me and goes, "Hey, Jonesy, grab a glove. Come out here." What do? I do. I go out there, I start feeling ground balls. After about 10, I'm like, one clanked off me. I'm getting a little tired. He goes, yeah, not so easy. I go, you're right, man.
Yeah,
You're right. Taught me a lesson,
yeah,
like that
yeah,
I needed because
yeah,
I hadn't played for 12 years. So,
yeah,
and I think we forget that it's a round ball, round bat, hardest thing in the world to do.
yeah. Yeah, my boys was about 10 and I was coaching them. And I had a lot of parents, man, I mean, they was on their kids' butt. If they
Yeah.
struck out, all the,
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, man, I need to teach these dads. So I made a mandatory practice. And when we showed up to practice, I told them it was going to be a mandatory practice. The dads had to be there. And it was dads against the kids. Okay. And but I told them the caveat here is I'm going to be the pitcher. Now I need rotator cuff surgery. I do not have a good arm anymore. I can't really throw that hard. Long story short, guess what? The kids beat them, and the dad struck out a lot.
Yeah.
And I talked to him afterwards. I'm like, "Hey, here's the deal." And just what you just said, little Johnny's not striking out on purpose. He's
No.
he's doing his best, but he's
Right.
10. He's
Right.
10. You don't need to, ream him on the way home. Stop and buy him an ice cream.
Right.
Be good about it.
Right.
So let's get started about the recruiting process here because I
Yeah.
want to bring a lot of value today. I value your time because it's just your knowledge, your experience from everything you've done, not only playing the game yourself, but coaching it at the highest level and then raising two boys that played at the highest level and now representing athletes that are playing at the highest level. We want to give these parents a lot of good information. So let's start off talking about recruiting.
Mhm.
When do you think parents actually should start thinking about recruiting and what should they not worry about? What's some things that they should probably pay attention to? Now, we're not talking about 13, 14-year-olds no more. We talked about that. They need to have a good time. They need to work
Yeah.
on skills. They need to
Yeah.
work on nutrition. But now I've got a boy, sophomore, junior. I mean, he's wanting to play college at the next level. What's some things I need to focus on and things that I don't need to worry about?
I think first off, you kind of got to get an evaluation of where your son is.
Okay.
I think that's important. Just so we understand kind of what level he's at right at that moment. Doesn't mean he stays at that level. Just where
Right.
are you?
Right.
Um, and I'm a firm believer in this. If you chase recruiting, it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen.
Okay. Explain that.
What
Explain
that
that to me.
means is if we just start we're going to go after everybody and tell them about our kid, da 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 da, it gets redundant to coaches and they don't pay attention as much as if they just showed up and it caught their eye, if that makes sense to you.
Yes.
So
So
it's
you're saying if I'm blasting out, let's back up here. Let's say my son, and we'll just use Pearson for example. He's a sophomore. He
yeah,
wants to play college ball, and now he's a senior, obviously. But I start blasting emails. I hire everybody in the country to try to tell all these coaches about him. But I didn't start off with that true evaluation and recognize that right now he don't showcase as a D1 player.
right.
But all of my email blast and all of the people I'm asking favors from is sending information about my son Pearson to D1 coaches. You're saying basically that's the worst thing you can do because he might develop his senior year to be a D1 coach or be a D1 player. And if D1 coach now sees him, he might be, but if he sees that name and it's like, oh, I've already kind of evaluated him. Is that what you're saying?
It's exactly what I'm saying. I did it on purpose with Ryder. Okay.
Okay.
He was a giraffe. He was, trying to learn his body, grew a bunch. He wasn't ready to go be put in front of people that are going to go yes or no.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I took the time to get him ready. And I tell parents this all the time, get them ready before you pick where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me, this is what I do. And I'm probably going to be a little bit harder on my own blood than
Absolutely.
somebody else, which you can understand, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that they're ready for that quote, quote, evaluation to be like, okay, he's D1, he's D1, he's D1. Number one, we need to just quit saying D1.
Right. Absolutely.
If that makes sense
Yeah.
to you.
Let's go ahead and explain that while you're at it if you want
Because
to.
if you're on a college roster today, you're winning.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
winning. I
No
don't care
matter what level.
JUCO, NAIA, D3, D2, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the beauty of today is I can play myself up.
Yeah.
I'm a free agent every year, which is it's never been that way. You
And
know,
talk about the talent that's now compressed down to
oh my
all levels.
gosh. Like, well, I can give you an example. My youngest is coaching at North Greenville University at Division II. And I saw those guys play in the fall and I saw them early January. And I'm looking around going, damn, these guys would have played on my Oklahoma State team.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's how good
Right.
they are. I mean, that D2 means nothing because I guarantee you put them in some mid-major D1 leagues, they're going to roll.
Right.
They're just they had guys that either slipped through the cracks or weren't ready for this level or got cut from that level and just want an opportunity. And they got a great system there and a great program and they develop and they put weight on people and they play baseball.
Right.
But those guys are really, really good. So the D2, D3, D1, JUCO, none of that matters to me today. None of
Right.
it.
Right.
Nothing at all. And I think parents need to understand that.
Right.
It's changed in 3 years, like dramatically.
Well, and I see a lot of times parents on their Instagram. I'm working with one right now, and I hope she don't get mad at me for saying this, but it says my son is D1 or bust. And I'm like, "Oh, Lord Jesus, I
Yeah.
think I would change that." Because your son might be best for him to start at a JUCO. Because now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're a D1 athlete 100%, this is just not you and I talking. I'm talking about that boy is going somewhere to a Power 4.
Because his
And what
skill set says he should. Right.
yeah, and wouldn't you agree that that kid's probably gonna get drafted out of high school or have a chance to get drafted? He's gonna be that good if he's a
Well,
D1
number
prospect.
one, he's going to get recruited. So if
Yeah,
we circle back to your original question, you can't chase recruiting.
no,
You can't
yeah,
chase it. Now, do you need somebody to be your liaison, be your guy that's going to tell you the truth and really evaluate and go, this is where you are now? Doesn't
yes,
mean you won't get to that other spot.
right,
But this is the circle you're going to have to run in until you do these certain things. Hey, it's no different than if I got guys at big time schools, I'm hearing the same thing from the front office,
right,
the
right,
MLB teams. Hey, Jonesy, your guy is good, but he's really not quite where he needs to be a pick for us.
right,
And we're talking about really good
yeah.
players
Oh, yeah, oh,
with
yeah,
all the skill set and all the accolades and national Gatorade players of the year, all of that stuff.
yeah,
Still being told it all trickles down.
yeah,
It's all the same.
yeah,
Are you ready for that next move? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, so I agree with you. The first step on the recruiting process, you're saying find someone with experience and does a good evaluation on your son. That's
That
the
has
first step.
that has no skin in the game.
Yeah,
That can just go, this is where he's at right now. And
yeah.
this is what they're doing at this level, and this is what they're doing at
Yeah,
that level.
not
You know?
Uncle Tommy that plays church
No,
softball,
no,
not
no.
not you're talking about someone in the industry that sees baseball players every day.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
tell people a story all the time. If my boys would have grew up and said, Dad, we want to be lacrosse players,
right,
I know nothing about
right,
lacrosse. And I won't pretend to by watching a YouTube video or this, that.
right.
I'm going to find the best dude I can or lady, I don't care who it is, that teaches them lacrosse.
Yeah,
Because as parents, we're going to do anything to help our kids realize their dream.
yeah, I had that happen to me last night, Billy. It was a funeral at my house. I've got a sophomore in high school, Beckett, and I know you know Pearson more than you know Beckett, but we decided to hang up the baseball bat finally after all these years, and he's gonna focus on being a college lacrosse player. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, that's perfectly fine," because he's been practicing baseball 4 hours a day, lacrosse 3 hours a day, and doing football still an hour a day. And I'm like, "Son, if you wanna play college lacrosse, that's fine." But I told him the exact same thing. I said, "You better go straight to your head lacrosse coach, and you tell him tonight what happened, and you better get in his hip pocket because we need him to teach us because I don't know nothing about
Right.
lacrosse."
Right.
Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
If your son or daughter has a dream and they want to achieve something, we all know as parents that, hey, I'm going to do whatever I can
yes,
help them realize their dream,
yes,
whatever that case may be. So I think that's important. And then somebody that'll tell them the truth and is not afraid to tell the truth. You know what
right,
I mean? Like the
right.
real truth of where your son is right now today.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
Okay,
I
so
my
we're
own.
go ahead.
I mean, I would tell my boys this. hey man, if you think you're going to do this here, like at Oklahoma State, you got no shot.
Right. Right.
You don't understand what we're doing. You don't
Yeah.
understand how to do it. You don't understand what we need to do or what you need to do to make that commitment to get to that level. So you're going to have to change.
Well,
I mean,
and too, Billy, that's probably hard for parents or an athlete to receive, but that's the best thing for them because you can start at JUCO and make it to the major leagues.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, it's just that's the probably the best advice for someone.
you can be you can be as demanding as you want, as long as you're not demeaning, because
Yeah.
that's when they'll shut off.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
you can be demanding. You can demand that, hey, if we do this, and I told both mine, I said, hey, when you're ready, like when you really want to do this, and I used to say, if you want to do this for real, then you come see me. But as soon as you step in the building, you're not my son.
Right.
So understand that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they both had to kind of make that decision of, hey, this is what I want to do. So here's the keys, Dad. Here you
Right.
go. What are we going to do?
Right.
And then we do it, and we do it to
Love
our
it.
best ability with no guarantee of any
No.
reward whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
Love it. Okay, so I'm gonna hire someone to evaluate my kid. I've got a good assessment now of where my kid is. Now let's talk about what are some of the things that's going to get the coach's attention first? Is it measurable tools? Is it body? Is it performance, character? I know academics makes a big difference as well. What do you think is some of the most important things that these coaches are going to look at for my son?
I think, it depends on the level. It depends on the coaches recruiting them.
Yeah,
Out of those 4 or 5 attributes that you just said, certain people might rank them differently. If we're a really academic school, then we got to make sure they check that box before I can even move to the next box, right?
right,
If it's a if it's a big school, then do they pass the eye test for them? If that's what they're looking for, that's why you'll see, and a lot of parents in a lot of circles will go, "How did so and so get committed? He never hits, but he does throw hard. Oh, he's 6'4", 215. He's a grown man."
right, and probably runs a 6'6". Yeah,
Right. So it's a projectability that they can go, okay, physically that guy might be ready, so our eyes might be on him. Um, I have times like about was it 3 or 4 summers ago, I'm chasing this arm and I'm watching every one of his starts. So I just happened to see this center fielder dive and make a play, and I'm like, that's a nice play. And so I go to the next game, and that center fielder does something else, and then he does something else, and it's 5, 6 games in a row. Finally, I went to the coach and go, who's number 5?
right,
Just because of the way he played.
right,
And it wasn't 4 for 4 every day.
right.
It's just he moved around, he hustled, he struck out, the guy dropped the ball, he ran through the base, like he did everything. Long story short, I signed him,
Right.
and he was an All-American, and now he's at Auburn in center field. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
was a football player.
Yeah.
A football player.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the timing but how that guy played is what attracted me.
Yeah.
And he's 5'10", 5'11", 180 pounds. I mean, put together well, but nothing like, oh man, you
Right.
know,
Right.
so his play is what attracted me, and it'll attract a lot of other guys too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome story, man. Bristol, you talking about Bristol?
Bristol Carter. Yeah.
Bristol
I
Carter.
mean,
Yeah.
it's
Great athlete.
super athlete, but wasn't a really good baseball player, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he was a big time football player. I mean, could have went to Michigan and Wisconsin,
Right.
and he didn't. He chose to chase the baseball dream, and just goes to show you sometimes how you do things, how you carry yourself, the way you compete, which
Yeah.
I think gets lost a little bit, can attract
Yeah.
people to you.
So let's look at a showcase situation. So I
Yeah.
get parents over and over, they're taking these athletes to showcases and showcases and showcases. And,
Yeah.
I talked to Kevin Popey down at the MLB uh winter meetings, and I love him, man. He's just
Yeah.
honest. We're talking
Good
about
dude.
athletes and different things, and I know Kevin real good, and he's strength coach now at the Cubs, and he goes, I look at these showcases as kind of like taking my 1992 Ford F-150 to a car show. Who's going to want to see it? Who's going to want to offer it anything? You know how Kevin is, that
Yeah.
awesome personality.
Yeah.
And I think number one, that's what most parents need to understand. But let's say I do take my kid to a showcase. What are some of the things that's going to stand out to these coaches? I know we've already mentioned them, but I want this to be the podcast that parents can always go back
Understand.
to replay and say, yep, 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 yep. And just what was some of the things that these coaches are really looking for at these
You know
showcases?
what's crazy, and I realized it, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, even probably towards the end of when I was coaching. We all went to the certain showcases, right?
Yep.
It's a combine.
Yep.
It's not. It's baseball, but it's not baseball. It's all measurables, right? So there's a way to prepare for the measurables.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a showcase and we're typically going to run, we're typically going to take BP, we're going to throw from positions. We want to do it in a certain skill set, but we also want to show off arm strength. We want to show off our ability, our agility. Now they test you in the 5-10-5 and the shuttle and all the stuff that they do. It's a combine.
Right.
Well, some baseball players might get lost in that.
Right.
If that makes sense. If Johnny doesn't throw really hard, or he doesn't hit really far, or he doesn't have great exit velos, which guys are judging people on now, those types of things, then he might just go unnoticed.
Right.
And he might be a really good player. So going into a showcase, understand what it is.
Yeah.
Are you physically ready to attack the showcase?
Right. And if not, you're better off staying home training.
No.
Yeah.
Be the guy a year or 2 years later that pops on the scene and they go, who the heck
this?
is?
Yeah. Awesome advice.
That's you get one shot, right?
Yep.
One shot kind of like make everybody go,
yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Absolutely. There's a kid that Utah helped a couple years ago, and I ran into this kid. I just saw him hitting in a winter facility, and I was speaking in Indianapolis, and I met him, and I went back again, and I saw him again, and he played on a team that had in the starting lineup 8 Division I Power 4, if you will, commits, except him. And I'm sure all your listeners know who Max Clark is.
Oh yeah.
He out-hit Max Clark when he was a junior, and Max Clark was a senior.
It's crazy.
It was so hard to find him a job, so I call it a job, a school, because I jumped in because I wanted to. This kid needed to be somewhere because I would have signed him anywhere I was.
Right.
So I sent him a couple camps, some big schools. Yeah, like him, don't love him. Now, mind you, he had tangibles. He was 93, from the outfield. He could have an exit velo of 106. He ran a 6.6 60. Like, he did those things. He's 6'2", 200, lean, right? So I call a good friend of mine at Kent State, and I say, hey, Dunk, I'm going to send a guy to your camp. Just let me know what you think.
Right.
It took 13 minutes.
And he gave you a phone call. Yeah. Yeah.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Because Dunk knows. He's
right.
like, those kind of guys just don't. Long story short, he plays every day in center field as a true freshman and All-Americans on Sports Center like 3 or 4 times this summer, playing in the Northwoods. Had nothing, Jeremy. No deals whatsoever.
Yeah.
But when he did go, he was ready.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome story. And that's one thing too, I want to go ahead and touch on. I know, I had a son that was a late bloomer, and for these parents that maybe have a late bloomer, what's some advice that you would give them?
If they're both my boys were late.
Okay.
And we were going to be really, really good at baseball. If you want to you're not ready physically, but when you do get physical, this is going to click.
Yep.
And so they were going to be, in Utah's example, he was going to be the best shortstop on the field. And he was unbelievable as a shortstop. Not a super arm. I called his arm just enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just enough to go in the 6 hole and throw the dude out. Right. But by the time he catches, footwork, exchange, unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And Ryder was more of big. He had one thing. He had a big arm, but he really couldn't hit. He couldn't run. Had to teach him how to catch a ground ball. All of those things, but we tried to get really good at being baseball players. And that not only was what we did at the plate or what we did on defense, it was, how were you in the dugout? Were you early? Did you prepare correctly? Did you stretch correctly? How do you handle yourself after the game? All the things that I know coaches and evaluators are watching.
Yeah.
They're watching that all the
Every
time,
bit of it. Yeah.
and then once the strength came, then fortunately for those two, it took off. But there was a lot of times where there was a lot of tears
Yeah.
and there was a lot of frustration because they wanted to do things the way everybody else did them. I said, no, we're going to do it this way. And trust me, it's going to work.
Right.
Eventually you're going to get strong,
Yeah.
and it happened that way. But it didn't happen just like, well, we'll go do this once. We'll go to this lesson and that lesson and it's going to work. No, this was every day.
Yeah. It's a grind. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. It's a grind.
Never stopped.
Yeah.
Never stopped.
So I got to ask you this question. I get this phone call from parents over and over about their son maybe did not make what they thought was a team that they should have made. They feel like they're getting overlooked, all these different situations. Did that ever happen to you as a dad? And what kind of advice would you give these parents that maybe, they want their son to be on that national team. They want that son to be on this team or that team. Did it ever happen with Ryder, or Utah, either one, that they didn't make a team maybe you thought they should have
They
made? And
they they both they both had two situations. I can remember both of them very clearly, both at different levels. Um, but I remember when Utah was playing summer baseball for an elite program, and he played shortstop the whole summer. I mean, every day. Played pretty good, had a good summer. Was undersized in my opinion, skinny, was okay hitter, but really could defend. Well, that team made it to the Connie Mack World Series, and they went and brought in another shortstop.
hmm,
And Utah played a little bit of second base, maybe, but that was as a dad, I was more hurt for him.
right,
As a professional in the business, I know what they were doing,
right,
right?
right.
They felt they needed to get stronger. And it fueled Utah forever.
Yeah.
Like it changed his perspective, how he was going to do things. That's never going to happen to me again,
Yes.
So
Yes.
he had to go through it again, obviously starting out at University of North Carolina, then having to go D2. And then Ryder, back in the day, there was about, we didn't go to all the showcases.
Right.
But he did go to the Tournament of Stars. It was Tournament of Stars, 144 players. And the best thing about Tournament of Stars is after 6 days, it was cut time. And I'm talking old school cut time.
Right.
We lined every dude out on the back of the infield. And if your name was called, you made it to the next 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was there 18 days. Last person cut. So he's explaining it to me. He goes, hey, we're sitting in there, Dad. This is after he got over his emotion. We're sitting in there, and there's only one spot left. And you can hear guys out there celebrating, getting all their gear. And it wasn't him. He was the last guy in the room. Okay.
Oh, man.
And I'll never forget. I go, well, he called me. I go, did anybody say anything to you? And he goes, Terry Francona was a guest coach there or something like that. He put his arm around him and said, don't change a thing. They thought he hit too many fly balls. And, Ryder said, well, they were going out of the park. You know what I mean? But,
Right.
but if you fast forward a year, he was the highest draft pick of anybody that was on that team the next year.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
those were, as a parent, you hurt, but you hurt for them.
Right.
And I think us as parents, we're all guilty of, and I know I was guilty of it too, of their performance affecting me and my ego.
Right.
And I don't think people will say that.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
At least for me. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, man, I want them to be good because they're my son and this is what I do for a living, and it could hurt me. And now I'm just talking real,
Yeah.
But once you get over that and you understand, hey, this is for them, and that's a hard thing for mom and dad to get over. Then it's a different pain,
Yeah.
But they both went through it and they went through it their whole careers.
Yeah.
You know, where you're told you're not good enough. I don't care what level it is. Being told you're not good enough is being told you're not good enough.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Doesn't
and
matter.
and that's what I love about this game, Billy, called baseball. And that's what I try to tell these parents. What you just said was just so much valuable information because we want our son to be known as the best one on that team. We want our son to have the best opportunities. But what happened to Utah and what happened to Ryder, they let that be as fuel. And then as a mom or a dad, you've got to step back and say, hey, what don't kill them is going to make them better.
That's right.
And you know what? This is going to be a good thing for them. I might not understand it, and it hurts my ego as a dad
Sure.
because I'm
Sure.
not able to say my son made that team. He got cut from that team.
Yeah.
But it's not about what's best for my ego. It's what's going to be best for developing that kid and fueling that kid to work harder, to be
Oh,
better.
it's the reality of, like, you tell people, you know, I remember joking with college players. I go, you know, when we were in junior high and high school, hey, the cut list was posted on the PE door window.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or the
Yeah.
guys that made the team, and everybody had to go up there and try to
Sign
find
their
their name
name.
on
Yep.
there and make sure they made it. You know, I was telling Ryder in Utah, I said, hey, my summer ball, they go, Dad, what about your summer ball? I said, we played American Legion ball. You know,
Yeah.
there were some travel teams, but not as many. And we had 4 high schools that had to make one team.
Right.
And they were legit
Right.
high schools.
Yeah.
So the factor of being cut, I don't even know if that exists anywhere, you know, and that's
Yeah.
probably one of the hardest things for us as parents to manage as we move forward, to where if I'm not on this travel team, well, then I can go to this travel team, or I can
Yeah.
go to that travel team, and I can go play here, go play there. Well, when those opportunities shrink,
Yeah.
wow, okay,
Yeah.
this gets real now. You
Yeah.
know, no, I'm a shortstop, but no, I'll play right. I'll play right field. You know, I'll do whatever then, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I think that is kind of lost.
Yeah.
You know, to where it's not easy, man.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
easy. We all go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you mentioned something a few minutes ago, and I know what it means. And I think the majority of my audience may know what it means, but I want to make sure that we dial in a little bit on this. You know what I do for a living, own a sports nutrition company. I coach and train a lot of athletes to put on a lot of weight. I had one on my podcast last night that went from 149 as a sophomore last April 13th. He weighed 190 now.
Wow.
He just got through going to a PBR show, was top 3 in metrics on pull down, exit velo. He didn't have a chance at 149 pounds, right?
Right,
Now
right.
he's 190. He went from a 7 flat at 190 or at 149 to a 6'8". He's a junior, got some potential. But you mentioned the word eye test. How important is it for knowing what we know now, knowing that we went from these big rosters down to 34? How important is it for these parents and these athletes to pass that eye test and to take nutrition, take working out, you know, all these things to get big and strong? How important is that for these athletes and parents to understand?
It's very important. Yeah, it's more important than it's ever been.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because we used to have the ability to take maybe the not completely physically, you know, ready kid and make him a program guy, if you will, and let him do that growth during college. And then, man, we're going to have a guy. But that's, guys didn't transfer.
Yeah.
Guys understood the plan going in. I wish, and I can tell, and I can be really, really honest. I think Ryder had the skills that he was going to be drafted. Didn't think he'd go as high as he did. Utah, I wish we would have did more with. I wish I would have got him in the weight room more, but his growth plates were almost closed. But I was thinking, well, maybe get another inch, you know?
Right.
So I don't want him to get too crazy lifting. But we didn't do as much of the nutrition that I think we should have.
Right.
And if I look back at it and I look at the guys that I'm helping now or advising or families will call, then yes, it's 100% that has to be. It's not something you do. It's just a way of life.
Right. Right.
It's just the way it is. You start looking around and you can do studies like we're doing things bigger, stronger, faster than it's ever been done in all sports.
Right.
And that's not just happening because people aren't in the weight room or
Right.
people aren't watching what they eat. They're not taking supplements. They're doing all of it.
Right.
And they're doing it at a high level. Like I can tell you the greats in the game of baseball, They don't take no off season.
Right.
There isn't one.
Right.
This is what they do.
Right.
Biggest hurdle for our guys to get over when they go into professional baseball is, hey, this is your job in your life now.
Right.
Why'd the strength coach fly in from San Francisco to come see me at Exos in Dallas?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
the sooner you get in a regimen of that, the better, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I tell, parents all the time back when you and I was playing ball, which I'm a lot older than you are, but, you know, no one really had a hitting coach or a strength coach or a speed and agility coach
No.
or a pitching coach. Now everyone has access to that, but
Yeah.
very few people understand nutrition. So I think that's the biggest separator
Oh
of
gosh. Yeah.
of just understanding nutrition, how to go from 160 to 185,
Right.
how to go from 180 to 200,
Right.
because you and I know the size that these ball players are playing at. So I want to talk about NIL, but I want you to give a little bit more explanation. I know Ryder in Utah's story, but as a dad, I want you to kind of give a little bit more. We've touched on the fact that Ryder was drafted the second round out of high school.
Yep.
Give a little bit more depth as far as what their path was, why it was different, and what some of the things that maybe you mentioned that you wish you'd have took nutrition a little bit more serious, but what some of the things that not just from a baseball, but from just overall mentoring these boys of yours, what made a big difference in their life?
It started at a young age, and I think, them being around baseball and seeing it pretty much their whole lives, being in diapers. I mean, when I was a junior college coach, we had a playpen and we put an L screen over it, and we put those two kids in there, and then a pitcher was, he had to watch them and make sure,
Right.
probably shouldn't say that on
Right. It's
this,
fine.
but
Yeah.
hopefully I don't get in
Yeah.
trouble. But my point is they were always around it. But with that being said, if you take the baseball out of it for those two, they saw dad get up at 4:30. They saw dad go to the field at 5. They always wondered why. So, hey, what do you do? Come on.
Yeah.
And then they saw it. Why are you there 12, 14 hours? This is what we do. This is how we prepare. We have practice. We have plans. I have budget meetings. I have
Yeah.
scouting reports. And then I got all the issues with 20 guys that need to talk to me about their girlfriend or this class or getting in trouble or doing this or doing that, and then teach them on the field and then doing study hall and all the above. And I'm like, they're like, man, this college baseball thing's a lot. You know what I mean? And it kind of taught them that you had to do your studies. So one of the big reasons I left North Carolina State, and I didn't want to leave, but I went to Oklahoma State because Stillwater was a small town.
Right.
And I knew they could be at the yard because I had told Frank, who was the coach at the time, I said, if I do this, my boys, they're at the yard whenever they want. Like that was a big deal to me.
Right.
And not that they couldn't do it in Raleigh for Elliott, but we live further away. So it was harder. So I had talked to the school bus driver to stop right in front of the baseball stadium and drop those two off every day. And they had to come in, they had to sit in my office, and they had to do homework for 45 minutes. And then they had to go put on practice gear. And they could never understood why they had to do that. I go,
Right.
because that's what we do.
Right.
And then you'd come out in the field and you jump in with every drill you're going to jump in.
Right.
And don't screw it up.
Right.
Figure it out.
Right.
And it taught them, okay, I got to get the studies done first. And then I get to go do this. And then as soon as we leave that stadium, and this is for parents, as soon as you leave the tournament, I love you. Let's go get ice cream. We don't even talk about.
So if they went 0 for 3 or 4 for 4, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. We
Right.
weren't talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be a later discussion when I was calm, they were calm, no emotion, right? What are you seeing there? What are you doing? Using examples, right?
Yes.
Those types of things. So taught them discipline and caring and how to lead by not being told what to do, but just do it.
Right.
If that means you're the bucket guy or you're the yell screen guy or you're the rake guy or whatever you are, be that guy. And it kind of grew from there that if we were going to do something, we were going to be the best at it.
Right.
And I had a big thing with my boys. Like when you walk on the field, you're the best player on the field and you make sure everybody knows it with how you carry yourself.
Exactly.
And that was a rule.
Yeah.
That was a rule. And you not saying they were the best dude on the field all the time,
No, but they
but
need
they
to think they
play well,
are and believe they are. Yes.
right? And Ryder said that through his whole 12 or 13-year professional career. And when he called me and said, Dad, I'm not the best guy on the field anymore, I
Right.
knew he's going to retire.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
But going to that point of doing those things and understanding, hey, when you got young kids and the way things are and everybody's on the go, it's tough to be nutritionally sound, if you will.
Yes.
So I think I could have done a better job with that, of understanding what we need to do and we need to do better at, when
Right.
our meals are, what are our meals. And we got better as the kids got older of regimenting how you ate, when you ate, what you ate,
Right.
and then not missing workouts, not missing lifts, not missing training, things that you needed to do. Like that was nonstop.
Yeah.
But it was also one of those things where it was their idea,
Right. Yep.
not
Has to
mine.
be. Has to be. Yeah.
It's their idea,
Yeah.
and then, Ryder he signed with Stanford. So as a parent, you're like, this is awesome. He's going to Stanford. We had no idea he was going to do what he did. We had no idea. And it all happened in Jupiter. I think he was 1 for 13. And it's the last game. And at the time, they had 3 big leaguers on the team from California. And then his team was from North Carolina. And I was on a golf cart with one of my buddies, who's now the scouting director, I think, with the Giants. And he's like, hey, man, I got to go pick up my cross checker. I go, why? He goes, because the closer's coming in. And at the time, this is 2012. This closer was 96, 97. And nobody'd seen a lot of that 10, 12 years ago. So it was like Tiger Woods was coming to the 18th green with all these golf carts. Like it was just like, dang. And so, hey, and I'm watching the game, but I'm trying to recruit this other guy, even though my kid's playing here. And I kind of look and go, who's coming up? And I'm like, damn.
It's my
Ryder.
boy.
Okay. This ended up being on the cover of Baseball America. But he takes the first pitch, it was kind of up high, and he don't hit high pitches well. It was 96, and he hits it about 450 feet in the Orange Grove.
Yes.
And then grabs the ball from the coach and goes, I'm closing this thing. And he was 92, 95, mowed through those big leaguers, changed his life. That 20 minutes of time.
Yes.
And nobody knew.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I go, dude, how did you do that? He goes, I was so over everybody telling me that I wasn't this and I wasn't that. And, you're not really a high draft pick. I was just over it. Like, hey, throw that thing in here, dude. Watch this.
Right.
But he got to that point.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
to where,
absolutely.
I'm not worried. I don't care. Let's go.
Right. And
Let's
that's when you play your best.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're sitting there worrying about, oh Lord, this kid's throwing 96. I've never been able to hit 96. I mean, if you're overthinking, that's what I tell these athletes all the time.
Yeah. Let alone who's watching.
Right. Right.
And I think because of social media, not that social media is great, but there's some negative to where everybody knows everything.
Right.
So it's like you're aware as a student athlete, you're aware of everything.
Yeah.
When we're teaching people to don't worry about what's over there.
Right.
You need to worry about what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah.
That's a tough lesson to learn nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah. Take care of business. And for these parents that have young kids, maybe don't know what Jupiter is yet, how would you explain what Jupiter is? Because you say golf carts, they don't really know what that is.
Jupiter's more of a pro event. And it's kind of it was the big deal. Like that was
it still is pretty big deal.
It's pretty big, but every college coach in America, I don't care what level,
and
there.
Pretty much every pro team there.
Every pro team, and not only every pro team, Jeremy, vice president, general manager, president, every cross checker, every scout, everybody's there, and they use it kind of as their hub of, hey, you go here, you go there, because we're getting the best teams in the country with the best players.
Right.
So it's a big deal. If you're a senior at the time, it's in October, you're a senior, you're about to sign with Stanford, you go down there, you do this thing. Like I said, we had every team in Major League Baseball in our house within 8 days after that tournament.
That's crazy.
We still didn't know we'd go that high, or we weren't even thinking that. and then that's what Jupiter is. So it's a big deal. You never know. You could be seen. It could be the right time, right place. And for Ryder, it was unbelievable.
That's
He did
awesome.
it at the right time in front of the right people.
That's
And
awesome.
sometimes it's luck. I think if we talk about, so that's a little bit about Ryder's path, and he played a long time, and he's still in professional baseball, working for the Rays. But Utah's path was different. He went to University of North Carolina, and I had coached at NC State, so I didn't really like North Carolina just because I was at NC State. But I didn't, for that reason. Coach Fox and Forbes and Jackson, those guys are great. They did a great job. They recruited both my boys. But he goes there, and I'm like, he's not ready.
Right.
And I knew this.
Right.
I knew NC State might give him a little bit more of a leash and give him some more time to develop. Anyways, gets 11 at bats maybe in 2 years, plays more defense, calls me up and goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to transfer." And I'm like, this is back when you had to sit out.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, you got to sit for a year and we'll get you somewhere else. He goes, no. And he's got Arkansas, NC State. Like, I had 15 schools calling him,
Right.
big time schools. It's like, no, I'm going to go Division II. I'm like, really? Okay. So you're going to go to Tampa? He goes, no, I told them no. I'm like, because at the time, Tampa was the best. And I'm sure they're still really good. Because I'm going to go to this small school called North Greenville where Coach Landon Powell is. And I go, I know who Landon is. Great coach, played in the big leagues. So I go to his visit. I'm looking around. I go, Utah, there's 7 buildings. That's all this campus is. 7 buildings. He goes, no, this is what I'm going to do. And I tell you, I true story, and Landon Powell will tell you now that as soon as Utah did that, next thing you know, they got 6 or 7. Here's a Clemson,
Yeah.
here's South Carolina, here's an NC State, here's this. All of a sudden, they got dudes and dudes and dudes, and he becomes the player of the year, conference player of the year, male athlete of the year, gets drafted by Seattle, which is one of my most – Ryder's draft was unbelievable. We watched it on TV, but Utah's was – I remember Utah's Ryder's little brother.
Right.
Right? His was we had Utah – Ryder was in the clubhouse getting ready to play for a game, so I got him on FaceTime, and the rounds are going by, and the Mariners cross-checker calls me, who I knew, and he goes, "Hey, man, watch." I'm like, and he hung up, and I'm like, "Watch what?" And so we're watching, and it calls Utah's name. And so we're all going crazy, right? And I'm talking to Ryder, and I said, all right. So it was like a minute. I hung up the phone. I'm like, where's Utah? He's gone. So I'm calling for him. I go upstairs, and he's in his room just sitting on his bed in tears. Until this day, it grabs me to where he's like, I just wanted a shot. I just wanted to show everyone that certain people made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't care if he was the 800th player or the first player.
Yeah.
He got a shot. He got drafted. Yeah. And he played a couple years and made it to AA. And, so that was a moment changing life experience of one kid having big league tools going there, the other kid having to fight,
right,
get cut, go D2, still going to fight through it, all under the same house.
Yes.
Powerful. That's probably a different perspective than any parent has, except, there might be a few more out there that have that situation, if you will. So kind of crazy.
That's an awesome story, man. And I love both of them boys. That's amazing what you've done as a parent. Going back to being an agent now, what are the qualities you see in players who actually survive this pro ball mentality? I know you've coached a lot of them. You've helped a lot of them make it. Some of them didn't make it. What are some of the things that you are looking at as bringing on? You're an agent. You're looking at a player and say, yes, this is a boy I want to represent, and knowing what they have to have from a mental side.
It's a tough life. And it's even tougher now because there's only 20 rounds.
Yeah.
So there's only so many spots available. So teams are being way more scrutinizing as far as digging into that player.
Yeah.
and making sure that he's not going to be the guy they take. And then the guy gets there and looks around and no, this isn't for me, because it's different.
Yes.
It's not what you see on MLB Network. It's not what's on Sports Center. It's sometimes I would count, oh, there's 17 people here tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of people. The kids are on their own.
Yeah.
All they're told is what time we stretch the next day. There's no curfew. There's no rules. There's no anything. So when I'm looking at players or advising kids, I need to make sure that we're life skilled. The baseball thing's one thing.
Yes.
We're life skilled that we could actually handle a day.
Right.
Set my alarm, get up, get to the field, eat, practice, eat again, shower, eat, stretch, play. Oh, coach wants me to lift it. It's coach, it's 1 a.m. We just got to get your lift in.
Yeah.
So then they get done at 2 or 3 a.m, and then they go home. Takes you a minute to wind down.
Yeah.
Try to sleep a little bit till 12 or 1 and go do it all over again.
Yeah.
7 days a week. So you have to be able to identify, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, that type of family structure, that type of son that they raise to be able to handle their life. I didn't say a word about baseball.
Right.
Just life.
Right. Right.
Because that's the part that people have no idea about.
Yeah.
They just think, well, they just go play. Well, what do you think they do the other 20 hours a day?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's important. So
Yeah.
you're looking for makeup. There's certain things that I'll catch, like if a kid is just wanting to know everything he gets, that'll be a red flag for me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because then it's going to be about everything I get, and then there's a entitlement, and I deserve this. And no.
Yeah.
This is big boy world.
Yeah.
That you get paid to produce.
Right.
If you don't produce,
You don't get
paid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome advice.
It's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough. So you got to be really sure of the type of people that you're going to take under your umbrella.
Yeah.
And I can tell in 30 seconds of meeting the family if it's going to be a fit for me.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Didn't take long.
Yeah. And you've got some good ones now because of that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at our roster of players and you know a few of them, they all kind of check a couple boxes.
Yeah.
Makeup, hard workers, right?
Yeah.
Good people.
Yes.
Try to get them to do the things they're supposed to do, those types of things. And some of them miss sometimes, but majority of our roster is kind of the same, where people can go, okay, I see what they're looking at. I got guys that call me all the time and said, Jonesy, this is your type of dude.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy you want. I don't know if I do as well with the super, super talented, but always about me and handout. I don't know how well I do with it.
Yeah.
And nothing against that guy.
No.
I just don't know how well I do with it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Talking about a routine. That's why I love these younger boys understanding routine. I'm working with this younger boy right now, and he's like, man, he's getting homeschooled. He's a big baseball player. And he's like, I recognize I've got to wake up earlier if I want to get all my calories in. I'm like, yes, that's part of routine. That's why you need to start early. And that's why I put time frame on meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, all those things. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's talk about NIL. And then we're going to have you a few more questions here, wrapping this up. What's your overall, evaluation of the NIL? How's it changed the game? How much should the parents really try to understand it a little bit? And I'm not talking to the 13, 14-year-old parents. I represent some athletes right now. I need to kind of tell you about a couple of them. 6'3" lefties, 205, throwing 100-mile-an-hour pull downs. Those type. I was talking to dad the other day, and he's like, I don't know if I really care about the NIL much. I'm like, well, you probably need to little understand it, and you probably need to find some representation, because this is headed down a direction where you better pay attention to this. So give us a little understanding of NIL, and what should the parents know about it, and the athlete understand.
NIL is if you're with a group, let's say, that has relationships with brands or companies or coaches, that makes the NIL process a little bit easier, because you have somebody that can turn the doorknob. You know what I mean?
Right.
people chasing NIL is like chasing recruiting. There's not a lot of NIL money out there.
Right.
You will set your market value by how good of a player you are and good a person and all of those things. But understanding NIL is something that we're all trying to understand every day.
Yeah.
Because with the new revenue sharing, like I got a couple athletes in a certain conference that revenue sharing of 20 million or 22 million, they're paying way more than that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of these schools will put those kids on contract and they get monthly, checks. And then what we do is we get them set up with financial people. We give them an option of 3 or 4 people that we trust, and they teach them how to manage their money and put away taxes. Like it went to a different level.
Right.
And that's from a high school kid going into college and then college kids going into pro. I don't have any kids below that, let's say, if they're not signed already, that are doing NIL stuff.
Right.
I personally don't. Fortunately, we have multi-year relationships built up with brands that if we think it's a fit, we'll make a call to a brand, and then that brand still has to love the player.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like you have to be attractable to that brand for you to do the NIL. And that's different than the revenue share.
Yeah.
Revenue share is money that the university is going to set aside for that particular athlete. And when you're going through this, and 3 years ago, you would have said NIL to me. I had somebody tip me off before NIL ever happened and told me it was going to happen. And I was like, there's no way. Right?
I did the same thing. Yeah.
And now it's turned into like, that happened.
Yeah.
I do presidents of collectives all the time. It's like the coach will tell the president of the collective, this is who we want. We don't want to know what you're giving them. We don't care. And I think it's really smart by them.
Yeah.
And then I do the negotiations with the president of the collective.
Yeah.
Based on the other offers, and now they went as far as to rank the transfer portal.
Right.
That one individual that we were talking about earlier, Bristol Carter, was like in the top 6 or 7 in the portal. And he's the same kid that said to me the night he's going to the portal, hey, Jones, do you think anybody's going to call?
That's funny. That's funny.
I was like, you're going to be all right. I'm sure somebody will call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being aware of it, understanding it, I think the most important thing they should be aware is NIL has given the opportunity for bigger schools to fully fund their baseball scholarships.
Right.
Hey, and that's all we wanted forever.
Right.
Not 11.7. Why can't these 25 guys or 35 guys be on at least books, tuition, fees, and meals or cost of attendance now? That's, as a parent, you're like, okay, so let me get this right. They're paying for everything?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's never been like that in baseball.
No, not at all.
That's what I would care about. NIL has made those budgets being able to be stacked and being able to, okay, we can give you this scholarship money and we can give you this much NIL. It's a full ride. And where our minds go as human beings is like, okay, give me the full ride, plus I want some money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. All right, Billy, I'll tell you, it's something that we got to understand, and it's going to keep changing the landscape.
It changes every day.
Yeah.
It changes every day. Like I'm waiting for, I was just talking to a coach today in the Big 12, and he was like, he goes, you said this was going to happen. I go, dude, I said that a long, long time ago, to where if you go into pro ball and you get cut, you should just be able to come back, play one more year. Well, that's
that might
now.
Change.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the simple fact of like, hey, why should JUCO count?
Right.
If certain players don't have to count JUCO in certain sports, then why doesn't baseball follow the same rule? I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, it's going to happen quick. That's going to happen.
If you do it for one, you know, and that's the other thing parents need to understand too. And I don't mean to go off on a tangent on you, but that NIL circles into the portal.
Yes.
And then everything getting pushed. And we've got 22, 23, 24, 25-year-olds in college baseball.
Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So what's it do for your high school player, right?
Yeah. Well,
Makes it tougher,
and
man.
that's why mom and dad need to listen to this podcast over and over and understand, it's and then that's why you can't get upset if little Johnny has to start off at JUCO. I mean, it's
No,
just be
no,
grateful he gets to play the game he loves.
no, I'm the wrong guy for
Yeah,
anybody to say that too, because I had 2 boys and they had to both take different paths, and this is way before any of this.
right,
One of them just wasn't good enough yet.
right,
Like, we can call it however you wanna call it, he just wasn't at that level. That's
right,
okay.
right, absolutely,
Doesn't mean he can't get there.
right, absolutely, and he did.
He
All right,
did.
I'm gonna ask you a few rapid questions here, just fast answers, and we're gonna wrap it up with how these people can get a hold of you. Because Billy, I don't know if you've thought about this or not. I was thinking about this morning. I was studying and preparing. I'm like, man, you need to start a consulting business or something. I mean, not only because of your connections and your resume, what you've done, but you've also raised 2 boys and went through the process as a parent. That's the biggest thing, and that's kinda like me from a nutrition coach standpoint. I tell everyone, "Yes, I've got the certification. Yes, I've been in nutrition 27 years. Yes, I know everything about the body, but what really made me good as a nutrition coach is I've got 2 boys. I've had to tell them
Right,
many a times to eat your
right,
food and to
right.
get to bed, all of those things." So we're gonna ask you a few questions here. One thing you would stop immediately if you were a parent today?
One thing I would stop immediately,
Yeah, if you as a parent today and you have some youth athletes,
entitlement.
okay, entitlement. Next one thing you would start doing immediately if you had some youth athletes.
Teaching them how to have fun at process and working hard.
Love it. Best investment under $100 that helps development.
Best investment under $100. Jeez.
I've got what I'd say.
That's a tough question.
I'd tell them sleep. These kids are playing video games at night. I have parents all the time. They
Yeah,
know that I own a supplement
I think
company.
you answered it for both of us. I mean,
Yeah,
that doesn't kids, kids are they can run through a wall. They're bulletproof. You know how they think about sleep, but you're right.
absolutely,
They're not
absolutely,
wrong.
and
Not wrong.
I've shared this a million times. I've got, a lady I follow, Mita Sheen. She's if you research her, Billy, she works with a lot of MLB teams, like, if they're playing East Coast or West Coast teams traveling back and forth, she helps a lot of
Yeah.
them figure out what player would be better based on their sleep schedule and all of
Oh, wow.
those different things. She works with Olympic athletes. I mean, she's pretty special. And she did a research study on 16-year-old athletes. And if they miss 4 days in a row of not getting 9 hours of sleep, so 4 days in a row, they didn't get at least 9 hours of sleep, their testosterone levels decreased by 10 to 15%. Then their
Wow.
reaction time, which is usually a quarter of a second, doubles or triples. Now, we know
Wow.
how important it is to have good reaction time playing the game of baseball.
That's something I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. All right. Biggest investments family make overall, or best investment families can make overall. It don't have to be financial. It could be time, whatever.
Um, I I would say, as far as investing, invest in the fun, invest in the process, invest in positive attitude, playing a sport that is so meant to fail at.
Yep. Yep. I'd probably say just what you said, just in a different word, memories.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if you won the last game at Cooperstown when they're small. It doesn't matter if you drove to Colorado and didn't win the championship. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy? Did those kids learn something?
Right. And that's us as adults, we need to set that culture up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
where I had a coach tell me one time, like, hey, we're gonna enjoy winning.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Right.
So enjoy it.
Right.
And I think sometimes we all can get caught up in the next thing,
Yeah.
the next thing. And
Yeah.
we really don't sit and go, man,
Yeah.
look what I just was able to be a part of.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I think you see it on certain levels, but I don't think we celebrate it enough,
Yeah.
or just even hitting goals,
Right.
teaching my boys at a younger age of, I remember when they got in trouble at school for doing something stupid, and uh, oh no, they went, they had the day off of school, and I said, hey, you can ride your bikes around the neighborhood. And this is at Oklahoma State, and I get a call from one of the local police officers that I knew. Hey, your oldest is up at Walmart with a bunch of his buddies. Well, they had decided to ride their bikes to Walmart, which they were in trouble for that. But then they bought a 8-pack of Gatorade and were running around, and they made toilet paper walls in the whole aisle all the way to the top. And then they were running through them, right? So we got in trouble for that. So after that, it was all we're going to understand what being accountable is.
Yes. Yes.
Accountability. So everything that they did, they probably got tired of me saying, hey man, well, at some point in all that story you just told me, you could have fixed it all by your actions and the choice you made.
Yes.
And no, it's no different than when you start doing training,
Right.
or you start doing nutrition,
Yeah.
or you start doing sleep,
Yeah.
or you start doing tournaments or showcases or whatever the case may be. Hey man, what are we doing to get to that point? And I always would ask them this: what are you willing to give up to get what you want?
Yeah. Love
What
it.
are you going to give up?
Yeah. Love it.
Because we can't have it all.
Nope.
So
Yeah, you love it. Yeah, and I think what you said, setting up that culture, and even us as dads, we've got to remember, we get through playing a baseball game and they deliver a steak that's not cooked right. Do we throw a fit? Do we act like a punk to the waiter,
right,
or do we say, hey, that's no big deal. I'm gonna eat this steak anyway, or I'm gonna ask them politely to change it. And our kids are learning so much from us. Last question: biggest myth in youth baseball. Biggest myth in youth baseball.
biggest myth that more is better.
Okay. Love it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I think, and I think it's a culture, like it's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a thing from going to the field and playing the game, and then we're going to eat, and then we're going to the movie, and we're in the hotel, and we're in the pool, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But being able to put that all in perspective, sometimes I think it's too much. And the other thing is, at that level, I don't think you have to do that one sport all the time.
No.
I think you can do other things.
Yeah.
I do. There comes a point where it goes like this.
Right.
But at that young level in the youth, do a few things.
Yeah.
And do them well.
Yeah.
And then let that kid decide, like, it's no different than what your son said. You guys had the funeral with baseball.
Right.
No, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to go do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
He made that decision.
Right.
I think sometimes we put the pressure to make that decision too early.
Yeah, we do.
That's why. Yeah. I think us as parents, you got to decide, like, hey man, what does this kid love to do? What does he love to do? Does he love to train at it? They're going to tell you.
Yeah. Well, and two, Billy, I mean, just to confess my sins a little bit, I've kept him in baseball for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
and he had a good time last year in freshman baseball, and he knows that I have the love of a game of baseball and got connections in baseball and different things. And he come home from his first JV ball game the other night. He left to school at 2:00, got home at 10:00. That's 8 hours. Then he's got to go back and do football training, baseball training, lacrosse training. And I basically just said, hey, Beckett, I think it's best to hang it up. He was afraid to tell me that.
Right.
He already wanted that.
You knew it.
But as a dad, I've got to say, okay, if you want to play D1 lacrosse, we can't jeopardize that 5 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours on some days with baseball. We need to be working this game at lacrosse.
That's right.
And he's still going to play football as well. So there's options there as well. But I think for me, my wife, I told her, I was like, I need to make this decision for him because I feel like he's going to keep doing it just to satisfy me.
Right.
And I don't think that's the right decision to make. So I had to help him make that decision. And some of these parents listening, they need to figure that out. Now, he's a sophomore. We played a long time, and I agree with you. Sure. Playing a lot of sports, I love it. Sure. I think that's the best thing. Utah played basketball, keep them playing. But when it does come that time, they need to make that decision. Don't choose what sport mom or dad like the best.
That's right.
Choose what's best for the athlete.
Yeah, and I think at every time, like I got buddies that, I had my kids when I was really, really young, so their kids are going through it now, and I just tell them, I said, they're going to make that call. Like, you're not going to be able to force them
Right.
to do what we do, right?
Right.
That they're just not gonna, they might not love it as much,
Right.
like both my boys told me, he said, Dad, you are crazy. Like, your baseball is like, that's you. Like, that's what you do. That's who you are. I go, yeah. And I laughed, and look what they're both doing.
Yes.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Because they know that, maybe they'll do other things, and they both could, obviously. But that's it, just kind of, it's what you are, what you know. And they did other sports.
Right.
But I think sometimes, and I think, as I was reading through some stuff, and we got the kid that, like you just mentioned with your own kid, they've got lacrosse, they've got training for football, they've got baseball. It's too much.
Right.
It's too much. I
Right.
got people that, they're training for baseball, but they have football workouts. And I'll just tell them, hey, go do your deal. And then when you jump into baseball, we'll jump into it.
Right.
And we'll get set up, and you'll get caught up. And this brings it back to, if you're going to do all those things, you better be as strong as you possibly can be. You better have nutrition. You better have sleep.
Oh, yeah.
That's a controllable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a controllable.
Yeah.
Because at least it helps you grow and
Right.
get size and strength and moving forward. So, because I had a coach tell me a while ago, like, hey, with strength, everything comes easier.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that was the problem with Beckett. That's why I had to help him make that decision. He's
Yeah.
wanting to be a D1 lacrosse player, and he's really good on the lacrosse field, but he needs to be 200 pounds. He's 175 as a sophomore. We
Right.
figured it up with lacrosse, baseball, and football every day. He was burning 4,300 calories a day.
Oh, wow.
That means he needed to be eating 5,300 calories to get a day to gain 2 pounds a week. So, last question, or not
Yeah.
question, it's more of you speaking to that 14-year-old, one message that would help him for the next 3 years.
Enjoy what you get to do. Enjoy that you get to put a glove on and spikes on and a bat and throw a ball. Enjoy every minute of it if you truly love it. That's what I would tell them. And then train at it, work at it, as long as you don't think it's work.
Yes, love it. I told my senior that same advice. I said, "Look, you're gonna go on. You're already signed to play college ball. You're gonna play at the highest level you can play, and we'll see where your talent takes you." But I said, "Enjoy this senior season." I said, "I
Oh,
could
yeah.
be wrong, but if when you're playing college ball and when you go to pro ball, you'll probably look back at these memories your senior season will be some of the best memories you ever made in your life. So just enjoy it."
It's so important that you said that, because I went, it's crazy. I had a player tell me one time, he's like, where were you? I said, I got to go recruit this kid, but I'll be back by, for the Tuesday game. And he goes, you know what? He goes, you keep worrying about the future, the present is going to pass you by. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I thought about that the whole time when I was going on that plane, like,
Yeah.
it kind of registered, and I've never forgotten. I remember where he was standing, where I was standing. And I think sometimes, and I got to remind myself,
Yes.
enjoy right now,
Yeah.
engage in now.
Yes.
And because that other thing's still going to be there.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
if I could tell parents, like, just enjoy what they're getting to do. Don't worry about, well, we got cuts and we got rosters and we got to make this team, we got to make that team. Enjoy this.
Yes.
I don't care what level it is. Just enjoy it and get caught up in it,
Love it. Love it, man. Well, Billy Jones, it's been a pleasure to have you.
No, my pleasure, man.
You
I
just
feel honored to do it.
just getting to have you on the podcast. This podcast is something these parents need to listen to over and over and over again. We've covered pretty much everything, and I want the parents. I didn't ask your permission, but I'm sure you're okay with it. How would a parent be able to reach out to you?
I
If
would
they're wanting
say,
to get some wisdom from you in the future? I don't know, if that's something you
they
feel
can
comfortable
just,
sharing.
yeah, they can email me,
Okay.
and they can email me. I'm not a huge social media person,
Okay.
at all. And for no reason except, I'm so busy. That's probably the last thing that I really
Wanna
jump
do.
into. But I like to help kids, man. And I was in the underdog. My boys were both underdogs. So I believe you can get to where you want. And we got some great stories out there in college football now,
Yeah.
man, where
Yeah.
Guys are doing it from, the Chambliss kid at Ole Miss who was sat for 2 years at a D2.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, it's okay.
Right.
You just keep fighting the fight. So, um, I like to help people as far as just planning and how you go about things, and then basically just be somebody they can talk to and go, how's this sound? Or how's that
Yeah.
sound? I've lived it. I understand every feeling, but probably just email me, and I'll have to think about that consulting thing. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was about to say. I think, this morning I was thinking you need to start a consulting business because just what you started off with, about the evaluation. A lot of these parents don't even know who to call to and evaluate. Like I
yeah,
said, you've got Uncle Tommy that's playing church softball. You got you got all these different people. So I think it's definitely something you need to entertain is just, and not from a financial standpoint, but just allowing these parents a sounding board to say, here's my son. How would you evaluate them? So
I
uh
get that. It's crazy you say that because I get that all the time.
yeah,
All the time, to where it's like, do you want me to be honest? Like, I'm going to be honest.
yeah,
Like, understand that this is where we're at, but
right.
this is what we can do, and this is how we can do it.
Well, I mean, you was the first one I called about Pearson. I'm like, where we at here, Billy? And I know
Right,
you would just tell us the
right,
truth.
right.
So if you don't
I
care,
say that for your listeners, that hey, you're involved in this, right?
right?
You're in the baseball world at a high level, and me and you having that conversation, I can tell you that I knew that you knew where his fit had to be right now.
Yes,
Doesn't mean that he can't go do it at
right.
the other level, because he can. Because
Yeah,
I can tell people crazy stories that I sent some videos of him to coaches with nothing else.
yes, just a swing.
They're like, "Damn, that's pretty good. Who is that?"
Yeah, yeah,
And I'll test people that way.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But my point is that you understand. Hey, let's go do this, and then let's see where that leads, because this is the opportunity that we have.
yes,
Period.
right, right,
And it's a positive way to look at it.
yes,
And in today's day and age, it's smart,
right.
because you can just keep climbing, man.
Yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely. You can go as far as you
just
want to
think
go.
I think your listeners should understand that about you. That's real, and that's when it's your blood, it's different, man.
Absolutely,
It's different. It's
absolutely.
different. So
Absolutely. Well, Billy, if you don't care, share your email address, and if you don't care, we'll put it in the notes of the
yeah,
podcast, and that way they can get a hold of you if they're looking to get some evaluations or something from you.
it's Billy J, BILLY J, the number 5, the number 6 at me.com. M as in Michael, E as in echo.com.
Billy Jones, you tell Utah and Ryder I said hello,
I will, brother. I
and
will.
it's been an honor and a privilege to have
No,
you on the
all mine.
podcast. We call it the Hard Truth Podcast for a reason. All we do is tell the hard truth, man.
I love it. I when I saw that, I was like, that's sweet.
Yeah, yeah, we
So
call it the hard truth because a lot of times we think little Johnny's better than what he is, but we got to tell him the hard truth regardless, okay? Billy
Really,
Jones, thank you guys. If you enjoyed the podcast, share it with a friend or family member. Trust me, I know that a lot of parents need to hear this podcast. And we've got, not someone that, again, has got over 20 years experience. You heard his bio, but also raised 2 kids to play baseball at the highest level, and a phenomenal man, most importantly, and represents some of the top athletes right now that's going to be in this next draft. So, Billy Jones, thank you for being on. Thank you,
thank you,
audience,
Jeremy.
for listening.
Thank you.